how straight are your hand saw cuts? If you're struggling to cut straight, this is a miter block, and this is going to help you cut straighter. I've got various sizes of this one. This is a nice little miter box here, and this is a larger miter box. Think of this as a set of stabilizers. So stabilizers on a bike when you're starting out, and you build up memory muscle. Same principle with this. When you're starting out cutting on this, you can use your miter box and it will cut a 90-degree line. So if you have a piece of timber in there, you can line up your saw between the two grooves here and cut your timber at a 90-degree line to whatever your edge is there. It also comes with 45-degree lines. So you can put your saw in here and cut it 45 degrees, either direction. And you do get miter boxes with 22.5 as well. So they're absolutely ideal for when you're starting out. And even if you're not starting out and you're doing it later, I've had this for years and I've been using it on various different things. And where it comes in particularly handy is for coving. Coving, which would go up in the corners of rooms, or down below, you might have it for skirting or for architrave. And a miter box is ideal for that, so it's always handy to have a miter box. This one I got, I think this was £6 or £7 in Screwfix in the UK. So that's pretty good, probably the same on Amazon. And why we're using it at the very beginning is for practice. So it's quite boring just practicing cutting cross cuts, cutting rip cuts, and cutting. So this is a super project where you can get to cut loads and actually make a really useful game out of it so that the whole family can have fun. And it doesn't matter what age you are. So for all ages, this is an ideal way to start out. And once you've got it set up, I'm going to talk you through how to set it up, some of the material you can buy, and build yourself a tower block puzzle. Comes under another name, but we get the idea of what the tower puzzle is. And it's brilliant for garden fun for summertime or any time of the year. So I'm going to have a go at this later. If we check out my plans for it, I've got a miter box, but you do have to do a few maths on it. You need to do a bit of sums on this and see if it's worth it. So I bought, because I want to be able to play this in the garden, this is treated timber, and I've got 3x2 timber. So it's supposed to be 3 inches across by 2 inches down, or 75mm by 47mm, but they're not actual measurements. So when you do get it, measure it, double check your measurements. I checked that with the combination square. I checked the depth of that, and mine, well, that's 38, but I wanted to know that width. That one is 70mm. So I went with 3 of them, 3 70s, 210mm, and I wanted to add a little bit extra on the 210mm. So there's my 3 timbers and 1 across. So I've cut these at 211mm, just to give us a little extra, because where the timbers are connecting there. This timber is CLS timber. It's Canadian Lumber Standard Timber. And I know it's straightforward enough, but if you continue watching this whole thing, I'm going to give you some various tips that you can use on setting up repeat cuts for whether you're using a chop saw or doing stuff by hand, how to set up repeat cuts, quick calculations. Also, I'll go over the techniques to use to cut straight. And if you're practicing that, you'll be a master at it afterwards. And when people are playing in it, they're not going to be making fun of your work. They're going to be having a great time playing this. So we measured 370s. That's 210mm. Let's leave it a little extra at 211mm. We need a miter box, which we have a miter box. The treated timber, which is CLS, has nice curved corners all the way around. That makes it ideal for this. So you're not doing a lot of sanding. But if you were actually going to make this on some interior smaller projects, if you got planed all around, it's very sharp corners, and that's going to be harder to move. You'd want to sand it first, and sand it when it's in one full length instead of sanding every little block afterwards. It's going to save you a lot of work. This thing has come in at £10.80. That's not bad for a garden game, and that's pretty much the maths on it. Nice and simple and straightforward. Let's get a bit of cutting done and build the rest of our tower. So we've got our length of timber here, and what I've done is I've set up an excessive amount of clamps, because I didn't want to screw anything together, but you can set this up wherever you are. But the main thing that I was setting up was for repeat work. I don't want to measure every one at 211mm. So I've set up a saw stop. I pop my timber into the miter box, and I'm going to slide it up. And when it hits that timber there, that's the same measurement every single time. So I don't need to measure every single one. I'm going to put my saw in here between my 90s, and I'm pushing it up against the miter box. As we're practicing, I'm going to, just a quick reminder on how to handle the saw. This time we're using a panel saw. We've been using the tenon saw on a lot of lessons previously if you've been following the tutorials, but this won't go all the way down. It gets stuck on the mitre box, so you wouldn't be able to cut all the way through your timber. And this is a great opportunity to introduce you to the panel saw. I'm going to show you how to hold it. It's got the same principles, and it's actually written on this one. We see a 90-degree line here, or a 90-degree angle on this one, and a 45-degree angle on this point if we wanted to measure or use the handle to measure out. The panel saw doesn't have a back, so it is a bendy saw. So it takes a little longer to get used to, but its ideal starting point using the mitre box and using this, because in the next videos I'll show you how to do rip cuts, which would be ripping down the timber with the panel saw. Back to our tower. Put in our timber, bring it up to the stop, hold the saw with your index finger. Let's see it on that one. Holding the saw with our index finger extended, hold that timber in place. We don't need to clamp it now. And I'm going to start on the far corner at a slight angle. What I'm also going to do from the front is I'm keeping my saw blade in line with the line that I want to cut with my wrist and my elbow. Ideally my shoulder as well. And my body's out of the way. So I've got to lift my head over the line to see what it is with my body out of the way. And think of this as your whole body being part of this machine that's simply going back and forth. This is cutting on the push. Every time I push that saw through, that's a cut. Straight down, simple enough. Go right through. When you get to that end, the blade might catch your timbers. That one's out, and we're going to build our tower. What this will do for you is build up the muscle memory. And with this practice, you'll get great muscle memory in doing that. So eventually, you'll be able to remove the mitre box, hold it with your hand, and be able to cut through. Let's keep cutting and build our tower. It's the weight of the saw, even though it's quite a light saw. If we had a heavier saw, but this is heavy enough. It's the weight of the saw that you want to be moving the motion on. If you start trying to force this saw through and hurrying it, it's going to catch and it's going to be difficult for you. So take your time. Practice your technique. Let's build it this way as we're going towards you. When I've cut my ends like that, at the end of this, you're going to spend a bit of time just removing those little fibers on that block. And being treated timber is a great outdoor game. Let's see how good we are at playing it. And as one comes out, whoa, hey, we got one. We're going to have to build it up. Now, I'm not allowed to touch the other bits, but I will. Slight cheat. I'll put that back. Edit that out. Let's see if we can get this one out. Look at that. That is brilliant. That's going to practice your cuts, getting them straight in there. Be able to remove that, and it's also great for saw stops, and you're going to have brilliant fun with that. I'd love to hear how you're going to get on with this one. Let me know in the comments. If it's of use, give it a thumbs up, please. And ideally, you're going to watch the next one, and we're going to use the panel saw to do rip cuts, and I'm going to show you 3 different ways to do rip cuts. See you in the next one. Hey, that's a good... Oh, how high can we go till it falls over? What next? Oh, let's get that out. This could go high. This could go high. Yeah, let's see. How high? Getting higher. It's coming out. It's going. Going. Yay! I win. Right. Or lose.